Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about one of the dumbest YouTube lawsuits that I've ever personally seen. We've covered similar situations to this here on the channel before, but today we're going to be talking about a lawsuit that is involving a 119,000 subscriber YouTube channel by the name of Sid Alpha, who is being sued by a much smaller creator for copyright infringement. I believe that this is a very ridiculous lawsuit from everything that I've seen so far, which includes some of the initial statements and everything that were actually documented and served, which is insane to me. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that, and we're going to take a look at some of what is expected to come, right, from this person suing Sid Alpha. We're going to talk about why this lawsuit's ridiculous, why this person should not expect to win, and why the entire YouTube community honestly needs to get behind this entire thing here. So an important part of YouTube and its functionality is a little something called fair use. Now, in layman's terms, this is essentially a protection against copyright that allows creators to use pieces of content that they don't own the copyright for things like commentary or criticism or parody or informational content, basically allowing you to use bits and pieces of other people's content to repurpose it into a new piece of content. For instance, I do this here on my channel all the time by reacting to people's videos or situations that are happening online. If it wasn't for fair use, YouTube would not exist in the, I guess realistically, the way that it does now. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's such an important clause that really helps YouTube stay together, helps people make the content that they make here on the platform, and overall, it's just honestly a necessity. But unfortunately, fair use constantly comes under attack here on YouTube. There's always some sort of, it seems like, frivolous lawsuit going on that really doesn't have a good outcome for anybody except for the people who end up winning in court, which oftentimes is not the defendant. I mean, we've seen situations kind of similar to this with like H3H3 versus Matt Hoss. That's kind of like the landmark case of fair use here on YouTube so far, but this all stems back to a private paid-only live stream that this creator was doing. Now, this creator's name is Acerthorn, which is a relatively small YouTube channel, only having about 2.22 thousand subscribers as of the time of me recording this, meaning that this is a lawsuit coming from a much smaller channel. Sometimes you see situations where like large creators get upset about the usage of their content and they threaten smaller creators into these types of things. Well, it's actually kind of in the reverse in this situation. Acerthorn does private live streams where you have to pay a fee basically in order to see it. I think it's $20 in order to see these live streams, which in the first place is ridiculous because if you have 2,000 subscribers, I can't imagine that many people are going to be willing to pay $20 to watch you live stream. Like, that just seems pretty ridiculous to me. I don't think I would pay really anyone $20 to watch them live stream, you know what I mean? But Sid Alpha and a few other creators basically got footage of this live stream during one of the episodes and used it in their content. They repurposed it through fair use to give a legitimate discussion about the entire thing and about Acerthorn and whatnot. And while Acerthorn didn't really like that, in fact, it's gotten to the point where, of course, Acerthorn is willing to sue these people in court, claiming that they have defamed him, that they have violated his copyright against his intellectual property, basically, and even going as far as trying to get $20 per view out of Sid Alpha during this lawsuit, which totals to over $1.8 million. Now, obviously, that is a ridiculous sum of money, especially for YouTube content, right? There's pretty much no YouTube content on the planet that's going to generate $1.8 million. The people generating that kind of money, it would be like PewDiePie or somebody, right? It's not some 2,000 subscriber channel that most people have never even heard of in the first place, right? Well, let me go ahead and explain why this lawsuit is ridiculous in the first place. I'm going to use a few clips of Sid Alpha's video to kind of talk about this and give a little bit of the backstory so we can kind of react to what's going on.
During January of 2022, Sid Alpha received from Sofian P a copy of the April 10, 2021 stream, which he then voluntarily accepted. I know he did this because he proceeded to make a video that included this clip, see infringement 23. His use of the clip necessarily means he acquired possession of that clip because duh. However, because he did not pay me the $20 per month needed to access it through authorized means, that means he necessarily acquired it through unauthorized means.
Okay, so this is claiming the infringements that Sid Alpha did in specific because keep in mind other people's names were also listed in this lawsuit, but it claims that Sid Alpha basically received a copy of this stream from somebody else, right? Which was the April 10th, 2021 stream, and claims that Sid Alpha voluntarily accepted this or whatever. And the only evidence was that, oh, they made made a video, regarding it, which obviously doesn't prove how you got that piece of content. I mean, for example, you could say that someone gave me a clip that I later use in a video, but in reality, I don't know, I went to like a Twitter downloading website and downloaded the video from there, or I went to a YouTube downloading website and did the same thing. There's a lot of different ways to get things like this, and it's ridiculous, I think, to focus in on this and like make this kind of accusation that you really can't prove. It later goes on to say, because duh, which by the way is quite literally written into this document and has been submitted from my understanding. So the court is quite literally going to read this guy's argument, and one of his like points that he's using to defend what's being accused is, well, because duh. Obviously, this is not the appropriate way that you speak in like a professional setting like this, right? Where you're talking about a lawsuit for millions of dollars at this point. And the way that you're defending your accusations is, well, because duh. It's just common sense. That's how it happened. Goes on to claim that didn't pay $20 a month to access it through the authorization, meaning it was unauthorized access, right? Well, the argument here, I guess, is that Sid Alpha and these other creators basically made what is called a market alternative, which means that instead of going to this guy's streams and, watching the original content, they can go to these people's channels and basically watch it for free by watching their videos where they use clips and segments of it. This is not true. Sid Alpha did not upload like the entirety of this stream or something like that. From my understanding, it was clips and bits of it being used as part of a video to like react or respond or talk about this subject, which is like quite literally the backbone of fair use. It's just something that happens on YouTube, and people seem to get upset when these types of things happen, right? Oh, people are using my content to criticize me or whatever, right? That doesn't mean you go and violate and abuse the copyright system on YouTube, or you file bullshit lawsuits like this. Let's just call this out for what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that is proven by what is being asked basically in this court case as like reparation or payment for what exactly transpired, I guess is the best way to put it. So
on February 12th, 2021, Sid Alpha published a video where he heavily criticized me for my use of the DMCA to protect my copyrights. For the most part, the court may find the video overall to be fair use. However, at timestamp 5216, Sid Alpha proceeded to use the Strange Noises clip from the April 10, 2021 stream. Even if we ignore unclean hands as a counter-defense to fair use, I believe his use of my clip in this case still falls short of the bar. While his playing of the clip begins at 5216, he begins talking about it slightly before then, at timestamp 5213. He describes the behavior as odd. That's it. That is where the totality of his criticism and commentary of this clip begins and ends. After he uses the word odd to describe the clip, he then plays the heart of the work without any visual or auditory obstruction whatsoever, and therefore, just like Kratos' videos, serving as a market replacement for the original. Once he had played the clip, he then abandoned all discussion of the clip itself and recommenced his previous discussion of my usage of the DMCA takedown system, which he believed to be abusive.
Okay, so this is some of the points being made against Sid Alpha here by the person suing again, where it's supposed to be arguments as to why this isn't fair use and why this is basically a bunch of BS that really kind of constitutes the lawsuit in the first place. Once again, kind of doing the whole market replacement thing, right, where they're saying, oh, you can go watch this and it sums up too much of the content, or it's just using too much of the original content. And keep in mind, this is somebody who Sid Alpha was criticizing for their use of DMCA on YouTube to quote-unquote protect their copyrights, aka take down people who were probably being a little critical or, saying something bad, negative, or whatever about this person. And they simply didn't like it, so they do what a lot of people on YouTube do, and they just start taking videos down with the copyright system. Every time something like this happens, I get embarrassed for the people doing it, because number one, it doesn't make the issue go away. In fact, if anything, it really amplifies it even more. If this had never happened, I wouldn't even know who this person is. They wouldn't be on my radar to talk about in a video. This lawsuit was just unnecessary from the jump, and now the attention's been drawn, so the entire thing comes off as just being vindictive, to say the least. Like just suing somebody because you don't like the content that they made or the things that they've said about you in the past. Which, if that's the true justification for this copyright infringement lawsuit, and I have my reason to believe that it really is, given everything going on here, this is the most fucking pathetic thing I've ever seen, it's so embarrassing to see people act this way. They get a little bit upset because someone makes a video about them, and the first thing they do is break the law and abuse copyright systems and file bullshit lawsuits like this one. And once again, the way you know this is bullshit is because the examples that are being brought up are just stupid. Most of them aren't even true, and they don't actually add up with anything whatsoever. They're more or less just this person rambling. And to wrap everything up and put a cherry on top, this person is asking, as part of the lawsuit, that they be paid $20 per view of this video of Sid Alpha's, which had over 90,000 views.
Requests maximum damages of $150,000 for the 23 alleged cases of infringement for a total of $3,450,000. Followed by the ad revenue from the 2 Cretosis live streams, along with the ad revenue I made from my video. And then there is once again the $20 per view of my video, which totals over $1.8 million. He then is requiring that YouTube, Alphabet, Discord, and Twitch remove any of our content that he feels is infringing, which is an entirely redundant point, as his second demand is that they permanently delete our accounts, and then wants the court to require them to take preventative measures to ensure we're unable to create new accounts.
This adds up to over $1.8 million. Now I'm going to pose the question to you guys. Do you think a YouTuber with only 2,000 subscribers is ever going to make $1.8 million? Not even just in one live stream, but in general. Do you think that that is a possibility, a realistic goal to set? Absolutely not. And there's no way that a court is going to look at this and see anything different than that. There was not almost $2 million worth of damages done to this YouTube channel. And even then, you still have to prove that the damages were done in the first place, which I'm not even sure is really going to work when you consider fair use and everything else that really kind of involves this situation here. I just don't see this being a successful lawsuit. I think Sid Alpha is going to completely clean the house with Acer Thorn, considering everything that we know about this situation. And honestly, I hope that this is one of those lawsuits where the community can come together and actually support the person being sued, because it's been a long time since you've seen that in a way. And I think if we all just came together and said, hey, this is stupid bullshit, and as a community, we're completely tired of this being like the #1 thing that these losers run to the moment that they get upset about a little bit of criticism on the internet, I think the better off the entire community would be. Because this is literally like the one-trick pony that's been developing over the last few years of people like this, right? They get their feelings hurt over a YouTube video, and they run to abuse copyright systems. It's happened time and time again. Sid Alpha, from my understanding, is going to be doing a GoFundMe to kind of fund the legal part of this entire thing. Obviously, there's a lot of court costs and lawyer fees and stuff like that that is going to be paid for by these people in the lawsuit and everything. And from my understanding, they will also be countersuing to earn back all of the money that they have to spend on this lawsuit, and also to make sure to send a message out to Acer Thorn and other people who do this type of thing that it's time to stop this. And honestly, I don't feel any sympathy for Acer Thorn. I think that this is going to be a pretty cut and dry lawsuit where Sid Alpha and most of, if not all of the defendants in this are going to basically walk away without consequence, because the legal precedent is on their side, you know, and everything about this situation just screams petty revenge attack. It doesn't seem like a lawsuit with a whole lot of thought behind it, to be honest with you, and I don't see them losing this case, given everything that we know about it. So with that, I also don't feel sympathy for Acer Thorn, because this is somebody who has been repeatedly accused of using copyright to basically attack people on the internet. When you build that type of reputation for yourself by constantly using the copyright features on YouTube to take down other people's videos, it gets to a point where when something happens to you and your channel, I just simply don't feel any sympathy for you. And that's really the case here. I wouldn't mind seeing this small creator get completely nuked in court. So yeah, I'll be supporting Sid Alpha in this one when the GoFundMe is ever released or anything. I would definitely encourage people who think that this kind of situation is important, not only to the commentary community, but to the YouTube community, to consider donating to help pay for legal fees and stuff like that. Whether you know it or not, these types of battles really take place for the entire community. People like myself, you know, there's constant new attacks coming on YouTube every day from different directions, and to constantly see fair use be put in this really weird gray area where it has to be so vehemently defended, it's very nerve-wracking, man. And this is the kind of lawsuit that people need to support in order to keep YouTube the way that it is, you know, where you can actually make content and not have to worry about some asshole striking it down because they get a little upset. So with that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, supporting Sid Alpha in his lawsuit and signing out.